When I first sat down to watch this movie, I was like, oh, why is this 1 hour and 44 minutes long? And by the end of it, I was like, why isn't this movie 44 hours and 1 minute long? Taylor is like if Blake Lively and Regina George got together and had a baby, and that baby grew up to be a lesbian. In other words, she's hot. I'm not saying babies are hot, I just, wow, cancelled just in time for Christmas. Okay, this movie is giving Virgo sugar mummy meets struggling Pisces artist, and I am here for it. It even has a bonus hey mama's lesbian and a token butch lesbian. Something for the whole family to enjoy. Alexandra Swarens and Olivia Buckle are one of those magical chemistry pairings that blesses lesbian cinema every once in a while. And this means they should be locked into a contract where they make lesbian holiday rom-coms every single year until they die. Thank you. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing better than the conservative parents finally accepting their lesbian daughter trope when two worlds collide. It's like watching those unlikely animal friends videos. Heartwarming, but also kind of tense because it could go wrong at any minute. City of Trees, The Holiday Club, Looking for Her. Alexandra Swarens is like the CEO of lesbian holiday films at this point, and we thank her for her service. At least she's actually out there doing the work instead of just complaining about the lack of lesbian content. You have to respect. And hey, I can appreciate a good top or bottom joke as much as the next fruitcake. Okay, hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video, I'm just going to be reviewing the film Looking for Her. This video was actually requested by a member 5 or maybe 6 months ago. So she's late, but she's here. Was it worth the wait? This feels strangely similar to my birth story. But anyway, I appreciate my members very much. I place a virtual kiss on each of your foreheads. Is it platonic? Is it romantic? Who cares? If you're not familiar with Looking for Her, it follows Taylor, who is headed home for the holidays and whose family is finally ready to meet her girlfriend Jess. The only problem is, Jess and Taylor have broken up. And so, in an attempt to save face, Taylor holds open auditions for someone to play the part of Jess for the holidays. However, she soon finds that she gets more than she bargained for. Ah, the fake dating trope. It's a classic for a reason, and a true classic never goes out of style. Ha ha ha. Okay, so honestly, I love this film and I was grinning like a simple fool throughout most of it. Simple fool is like my default mode, to be fair, but still. The only other lesbian film to have made me smile like that is I Can't Think Straight, which is my favorite lesbian film, so that gives you some idea about just how much I enjoyed Looking for Her. The strongest aspect of this film is undoubtedly the chemistry between Taylor and Olive. Both Olivia and Alexandra are incredibly emotionally intelligent actors and they have a fantastic connection. I mean, the chemistry was chemistrying and the tension was tensioning. Olivia Buckle stepped into the role of an uptight workaholic character perfectly, and Alexandra Swarens completely embodied the whole go with the flow, artistic personality of Olive too. I mean, both actors fit these roles so well. And I think that alongside their chemistry did a lot of the heavy lifting for this film. Taylor and Olive's dynamic was also a really interesting one because due to their polarized personalities, it shouldn't work. And yet it does, which is of course a testament to Olivia and Alexandra's connection. And speaking of their connection, their kissing scene was one of the better kissing scenes I've seen in a lesbian film. It was fairly low key, but the eye contact, tension and connection between the two of them was brimming with so much emotion and chemistry that it really elevated the scene and made it incredibly beautiful and impactful. Alexandra Swarens is a standout in this film acting wise, but honestly across the board I think that all of the actors in this film were committed and there wasn't really one weak link in the entire cast. I mean, it also doesn't hurt that both Alexandra and Olivia were blessed by their fairy godmothers in the looks department either, just saying. There was also a lot of intelligent visual storytelling throughout the film and I noticed there was a lot of contrasting between Taylor and Olive's personalities and lifestyles through visual details, such as their clothing, the way that they wear their hair, and even in the way that they consume food. I also appreciated how the film conveyed to the audience how Taylor and Olive were feeling about each other through visual choices too. For example, at her parents' house, Taylor starts out by facing away from Olive when she sleeps, but after she warms up to her, in front of a fire no less, a very nice touch, she then sleeps facing towards her. Taylor's hair is also used to convey characterization and emotional growth throughout the film. For example, at the beginning of the film, we see her hair is always up in a tight bun, which conveys her well put together and slightly uptight nature. And when she starts spending time with Olive, her hairstyle begins to loosen, which is symbolic of her learning to let her hair down figuratively through her relationship with Olive. And there's a lot of other small details, such as Taylor watching Olive's favourite movie and the parallel of their hand holding outside Taylor's parents' door. So not only does this film boast a great cast and chemistry between the leads, it's also thoughtful and intelligent. This is a bit of a fun, nerdy lesbian film side note, but there's a lot of moments in Looking for Her which are signature to lesbian cinema. For example, the car journey, the whole avoiding the woman you have feelings for, the bailing instead of communicating, and bonding over family-induced trauma. Yeah. There's a lot of familiar themes and tropes here, and they go hard every time. Looking for Her also contains an unexpected level of depth, which was not something I was necessarily anticipating from a lesbian holiday rom-com. There are a lot of very touching and human moments in this film, such as Taylor dealing with readjusting to once homophobic but now accepting parents. And one of the lines that really stood out to me in this film is where Taylor's mother says, in relation to her acceptance of Taylor being gay, that they are still growing as older people, which is a thoughtful and refreshing notion, because there's this misconception that older people are very much stuck in their ways and that we become stagnant as we age. But of course, the truth is we are always consistently growing and capable of changing as people, even in our older years. I will say I did feel like more time could have been dedicated to explaining Taylor's parents' journey from, being gay is a disappointment to why don't you two kiss right here underneath this mistletoe in front of us? Because that is quite a leap. And it's also a very important aspect of the narrative. But I do understand that some things may have needed to be glossed over for the sake of time. My favourite moments in this film by far were the small touches that indicated Taylor and Olive were falling for each other. And I adored the whole going to get the girl at the last minute sequence that is signature to so many mainstream or heteronormative romantic comedies. So to see that in a lesbian film just makes my heart explode, because we don't get a lot of that in lesbian cinema, even in 2024. So I really appreciate the softer and more romantic aspects of this film. On a technical level, I think Looking for Her is a fairly clean production, especially for something that's low budget and free to watch on YouTube. My only real criticisms of this film, and I always feel really bad criticizing independent lesbian productions because I know just how much hard work goes into them and I know how hard it is to get them made in the first place. But for the sake of giving an honest review, I do feel like the pacing in this film could have been tightened up in certain places. Some scenes, especially the earlier office scenes, felt sluggish or almost like filler scenes. And I feel like the film would have been better cutting those down and redirecting that time to focus on more important aspects of the narrative, such as Taylor's parents' journey in accepting their gay daughter instead. I mean, but really, this is kind of splitting hairs considering the film is a romantic comedy. Speaking of comedy, the humor in this film was also very hit and miss for me. There were moments I laughed out loud, such as when Taylor changed her mind about cancelling the fake girlfriend plan after seeing Olive's picture, and also the male catfishing part, too real. But there were also moments where I felt like the dialogue and the jokes fell flat, and I think the comedic timing alongside the pacing in certain scenes could have been sharper. That said, humor is a subjective thing, so it will be different for everyone. Overall, I loved Looking for Her. It's a fun, romantic, intelligent, and thoughtful piece of work. Olivia and Alex have a lot of chemistry, and they were both totally committed to their roles, which really is the main reason as to why this film works so well and why it's so engaging. As I said earlier, I'm a huge sucker for romance, softness, and happy endings, so this film was very much my cup of tea. I mean, it's not a perfect production, as I said earlier. The film certainly could have used some polishing in certain places, but for a low budget holiday film, you can't really complain. And in my opinion, I think that Looking for Her is certainly one of the better lesbian films out there. Okay guys, if you've seen Looking for Her, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.